If you have a 17 and 19 Ford Super Duty and you're looking for the best aftermarket headlight replacement for it, this video is for you. We just spent over $7,000 on headlight housings to try to find which one is truly best. We're gonna go over the features, the benefits, and of course the light outputs. So follow us and let's get rolling. The headlights we're going to compare to your stock halogen lights are ones from Spec-D, the Morimoto XB Hybrid, the Morimoto XB LED, the Alpharex Pro, the Alpharex Nova series, a headlight from Anzo, a headlight from Amerilite, a headlight from Recon, and lastly, Winjet. So with so many variables and so many different headlights on the market today, the first thing I always like to start out with is price. How much are all of these and how do they stack up? We purchased the Spec-D for around $425. The Morimoto XB Hybrid was around $1,125. The Morimoto XB was around $1,700. The Alpharex Pro was only $415. The Alpharex Nova was $1,495. The Anzo light was around $1,078. The Amerilite was $455. The Recon headlight for this Super Duty was $2,550. This is the most expensive headlight out of all of these that we are going to test. And the Winjet came in at around $899. If you're going to install one of these headlights in your vehicle, you also want the manufacturer to stand behind that and put their warranty stamp on it as well. If you're going to buy something that only has a 30-day warranty, I don't recommend purchasing that for your 17 and 19 Ford Super Duty. The second cheapest light here, the Spec-D, only has a 90-day warranty. The Morimoto XB Hybrid boasts a 5-year warranty, which is the biggest warranty you're going to see on this list. The Morimoto XB, the Morimoto's premium headlight, also has that 5-year warranty. The Alpharex Pro has a 2-year warranty, which is the second highest warranty out of all of these headlight housings. Their Nova series headlight from Alpharex also has a 2-year warranty. The Anzo headlight only has a 1-year warranty, and the Amerilite has a 90-day warranty, and that $2,550 Recon headlight only has a 90-day warranty. Winjet also only has a 1-year warranty. So yeah, you want a good price and you want a good warranty, but the second most popular reason people upgrade their lights is because they want them to look cool. Now I want to talk about the features because some of them do look really epic and some of them look suspiciously close to one another. It's almost like some of these are the same brand, just renamed. The stock halogen lights. So these use a reflector housing and there's a halogen bulb on the top and on the bottom. And then they have an incandescent turn signal that is a slow on, slow off orange color. The halogen lights are that dingy looking yellowish orange color as well. They essentially emit the light and bounce them off the reflectors inside the headlight housing, and that's what gives you your light output. That's about all this light has, so it's pretty easy to find better features in other lights. If you install the Spec-D headlight, you do have to T-tap into the stock wiring. Guys, that is bad and it's ugly, and this will definitely be your failure point on these headlights. Here's the features. They are halogen projectors, which is totally worthless. Why in the world would you put halogen bulbs inside of your headlight housing when you're trying to upgrade from halogen? Halogen to halogen, in my eyes, is not an upgrade, so that's a fail. The turn signal is this chunky amber DRL with an incandescent turn signal. The incandescent turn signal is the same turn signal as your original turn signal. Now you do have this white DRL around the headlight, which is a win, but in my opinion, it's super ugly when you've got the halogen lights. So you got that warm yellow or orange color emitting from your headlights, but then a bright white color surrounding the headlight. In my eyes, I do not like this. This is a fail. Now in my eyes, the Morimoto XB Hybrid has a lot better looking features, and that's because this is a complete LED replacement housing except for the incandescent turn signal. It's got a dedicated low beam on the top and a dedicated high beam LED projector on the bottom. The DRL, that daytime running light, is stupid bright, but it does dim down when your lights are on. So when you're driving around during the day, the DRL is really bright, everybody will know that you've changed your headlights to something cool like this. But this is just the entry level from Morimoto. When you install the Morimoto XB LED housing, it looks like this. The inside of this headlight housing, when it's off, has this piano black look, whereas the hybrid version from Morimoto was more of this gunmetal gray color. This headlight has 4 LED projectors stacked on top of each other. The bottom 2 are bi-LED, which means that they have this flap that opens up essentially and produces that high beam. It's got a sequential turn signal, which means it's got this sweet scrolling effect that we've grown to love with aftermarket lights. There's also this optional plug on the backside that you can unplug if you did want a standard blink option. Again, this has a super bright DRL, and it is dimming, so when you're driving around during the day, it will dim down about 50%. And the best part about these headlights that we've noticed is the startup feature. That is, every time you start your truck, it's got this scrolling effect where the LED projectors essentially chase themselves. I'm interested to see if other headlights out here have a startup feature like this. Here we have the Alpharex Pro, and this one does indeed have that startup sequence, and it looks like this. It has 2 projectors with halogen bulbs. It's got a dedicated low beam and high beam. That is cool, that is great. The Morimoto Hybrid had a dedicated low beam and high beam. But halogen bulbs, come on. Why in the world would you upgrade to those halogen bulbs from halogen bulbs? If you're going to put an aftermarket headlight in your Super Duty, at least find something that's gonna be an upgrade. This does have an incandescent turn signal, but it also has the amber sequential turn signal that goes off as well. Everybody's gonna know you're turning with this headlight. It's got a massive DRL. It is an in-your-face DRL compared to the Morimoto DRL, but if you like that, then maybe this headlight is for you. When it's all off, you do have this black housing inside, which looks pretty aggressive. Now here is the more expensive Alpharex Nova headlight. This one too has a startup feature. It looks substantially different than the other Alpharex with all of these different LED projectors. This headlight also has that sequential turn signal, which we've grown to love. It does have this dimming daytime running light, but again, that daytime running light is huge. It is just in your face. On low beam, all 4 LED projectors light up on the top. And when you turn to high beam, all 4 on the bottom light up. It's pretty cool to see 8 LED projectors on the front of your vehicle on each side. Now here's the Anzo headlight. I was just getting excited watching all of these different startup sequences, but this one has no startup sequence, and in my opinion, that's a little lame. It does have projectors, but again, when you turn them on, you'll notice those halogen bulbs. They are halogen projectors. I hate these. You have an incandescent turn signal bulb, which is the same turn signal bulb you already had in your headlight from the factory, but then you have that amber DRL also assisting that turn signal. The blink is solid. It doesn't have that scrolling effect from what I can tell. Now to me, this does have this funky DRL shape. It's not like what we've been seeing on the previous headlights. And personally speaking, I kind of like it on the front of this Super Duty. Now I've got Amerilite installed. This one also has no startup. It does have 2 projectors, but again, they are halogen. Man, I wish I could just kick this to the curb. I might actually blow this up in another video because it does still have that incandescent amber DRL. You might think I messed up and just put this in the video twice, but after installing this, it is suspiciously like what we just showed you guys, the Anzo headlight. It's almost as if the Anzo and Amerilite are the same headlight. All right, here's that expensive Recon headlight I was talking about. When it's off, it's got that jet black color inside. I do like it, it's very aggressive looking, but it does not have a startup sequence from what I can tell. It has 3 low beam LED projectors, so yeah, thank God we're not putting halogen bulbs in a $2,500 headlight. It does also utilize 3 LED reflectors, not projectors, reflectors at the bottom of the projectors for high beam. Interested to see what that light output is going to look like. This is what it looks like with the turn signal. It does not have a true DRL from what I can tell, which means it does not dim down when you have your headlights on. It stays the same brightness the whole time. And other than that, when it comes to features, I think it does have an interesting looking side marker. That side marker does stand out compared to the rest here that I've seen. And then the last headlight, Winjet. The bottom of this headlight housing is a reflector housing, kind of like your original lights are from the factory. and that looks to be low beam. High beam is 2 LED projectors stacked on top of one another. When you hit the turn signal, the top and the bottom do have this sequential amber scrolling effect. The middle 2 lines do stay white from what I can tell. So probably the most unique DRL style I've seen out of all of these headlights. I kind of like that DRL with all of those 8 lines. However, that DRL does not dim down from what I can tell. Now I know with the features, everybody's opinions are a little bit different. So if you found one that stuck out to you, write it down because this might actually be the deciding factor, the light outputs. How important are the light outputs? Well, to me, the most important. So what we're going to do now is back this truck up about 25 to 30 feet from the wall. I'm going to use this to measure the light output. This is the Konica Minolta T10A. It's a lux meter. It measures the actual usable brightness at a certain point on the wall. That'll give us a number so that we compare every one of these to one another. Now, we're gonna be using the stock halogen lights as the benchmark and going from there. So make sure you pay attention to the ones that are really bright, but also the ones with a good beam pattern and ones that are also wider than your stock original lights. So you already know what this looks like. This is the stock halogen lights on your Super Duty. We measured the lux to be 510. Don't pay too much attention to the lux, pay attention to the percentage change from one headlight to another. Here is the Spec-D Headlight. I couldn't help but notice that the width is actually less than the original stock halogen lights. So right off the bat, this is not a very good headlight. It's not wide. Yes, it's tall, but you don't even really want that bright light real low like you see here. The reason being is that right there will reflect right in front of you and essentially blind you from seeing the light output that you actually need, which is down the road. Yeah, there's some cutoff lines, but there's a lot of them, and that's because for some reason in this headlight housing, they couldn't align all of those projectors. So even though you had halogen projectors in there, they're all mismatched. I think they were held in by chewing gum at this point. I do not like this, and remember they use that halogen light, so you're gonna get that same color as you had previously. Oddly enough, at the brightest point, they did come in at 20% brighter than stock, measuring 610 maximum lux. Here you can tell the light output has changed drastically, and that's because this is the Morimoto XB hybrid version with the LED projectors. They're not a halogen bulb in a projector housing. So you got that beautiful bright white color that everybody has grown to love. You got 2 small cutoff lines and then those hot spots right there. Those hot spots are actually punching that light way down the road, putting it exactly where you need it on those long journeys. They measured 157% brighter than the stock halogen lights. Now I want to direct your attention to the width on this headlight, because obviously that is going to help you see into the ditches, whereas your stock halogen lights did a very poor job of that. Now let's check out the Morimoto XB LED Headlight, their premium version that's a bit more expensive. I measured 2,750 lux, which is 439% brighter than your stock halogen lights. And it's not just scattering the light, it is a controlled light, putting the hot spots where you want them with that gradient of light going down and getting dimmer. That way you're not gonna get blinded when you're driving down the road. And of course, you've still got your substantial width that's way better than your stock halogen lights. This is the benchmark when it comes to good light outputs. So let's take out that XB headlight and install the Alpharex Pro. This is what it looks like with those halogen projector housings. It looks like there might be one that's a little tilted, which means the projector didn't get aligned fully from the factory, but here's what it looks like. The width is there, but not quite as wide as the XB housings. Here's the bad part about this headlight. This is actually 56% less bright than your stock halogen light. Hopefully, Alpharex can redeem themselves with the Nova Series headlight. After getting it installed, yeah, I think they definitely redeemed themselves. This light output is actually very nice. Yes, the hot spots aren't super definite, but overall, it puts the light exactly where you need it. And the width is there. It's bright white because it's not using halogen bulbs, and I don't see a lot of glare above the cutoff lines, which is exactly what we want. We measured 109% brighter than stock. So not a ton brighter, but still a well worth it upgrade compared to your stock halogen lights. Now let's check out Anzo. As you can see here, you do got those really bright hot spots in the middle, and in my opinion, this is a very controlled beam pattern. For some reason, I see some glare way up high. I'm gonna assume those 2 spots above the hot spots, it's just a reflection from this concrete floor and putting the light up there. But that then gets me thinking, is it putting too much light on the floor that it's going to blind you and you're not going to see this good light output properly? It does come in at 127% brighter than stock, so in my opinion, this is not that bad of a light output if you like this dingy color. Now, as my suspicions seem to be getting more and more true, Amerilite is essentially the exact same as Anzo, but for some reason the hot spots weren't quite as bright as the Anzo. It's a very similar beam pattern, so I'm still gonna assume this is the same headlight as the Anzo headlight. I only measured 53% brighter in this case, but I truly believe that the light emitting from these lights are the exact same. It was just the way it was positioned. Now here's the Recon headlight. This is the one I was really interested to see if it was any good because it was so expensive. And judging by this beam pattern, yeah, it's not glaring on the ground. It does have the width, it's that bright white color, and it comes in at 245% brighter than stock. For being the most expensive, it is the second brightest. Not bad, but I did hope for a little more brightness out of Recon. Lastly, here is Winjet, and I gotta admit, this is one of the ugliest beam patterns I have ever seen. It's just a bunch of streaks, vertical and horizontal, and there's not much of a purpose. Yeah, this light might look kind of interesting, but what on earth is going on here? Yeah, there's two little circles that are hot spots, but really, this is not what you want. The width is here, but it's just kind of a mess. I measured 169% brighter than stock. So if you had to choose one of these headlights solely based off of the low beam light output, the Morimoto XB LED would be your pick. But what about high beam? If you're driving around in rural areas all the time with your Super Duty and you're always on high beam, maybe that's more important to you than the low beam. Your stock halogen lights came in at 750 maximum lux. This is our benchmark. The Spec-D lights look like this. It was 33% less bright than your stock halogen high beams. So Spec-D, in my opinion, is out. The XB Hybrid, known for having one of the brightest high beams because it does have a dedicated high beam LED projector, comes in at 375% brighter than your stock halogen light. So this is a win. We can definitely rely on the Hybrid. The XB LED, their premium version, comes in at 208% brighter. So it's actually less bright than their cheaper hybrid version that was 375% brighter. I do know the reason the number is less is because the XB LED headlights have those bi-LED projectors producing that high beam, not a dedicated high beam projector. The Alpharex Pro that had a 56% less light output on low beam had a 44% less light output on high beams. So it's 44% less bright than your stock halogen high beams. In my opinion, that is also out. But here is Alpharex Nova, and that actually completely changed the game with 413% brightness increase. A 413% brightness increase is brighter than any other headlight that I've actually tested on high beam. Anzo looks like this, but it only comes in at 15% brighter than your stock high beam. And Amerilite was essentially the same headlight housing as Anzo. I measured 3% brighter. The really expensive Recon headlight was actually 172% brighter than your halogen light. So still a really good option, but I hate to break it to you, that actually comes in 5th place when it comes to high beam output. Winjet comes in at 191% brighter than your stock halogen high beams. So Winjet, this cheap headlight compared to Recon, was brighter on high beam. So after all of that, what headlight would you choose for your Super Duty? If you base your opinion solely off of the low beam light output, the Morimoto XB takes the cake. The Alpharex Nova series was the brightest high beam, and Recon had a really good beam pattern, but it wasn't quite as bright as those other two, and it was around $2,500. The Alpharex Nova series was like $1,000 less than the Recon, so it's almost a no-brainer for me. If you base your opinions off of solely the features, Alpharex, Nova series, and the Morimoto XB were the only two with that additional feature, that startup sequence. Personally, I've grown to love that, and that is what I would have on my Super Duty. I understand all of our opinions are different, and I want to hear from you, so post it in the comments below. Which one was your favorite? What other headlight would you want us to test on this 17 to 19 Ford Super Duty? It is our mission to find the best lighting, and so far I think we've done a pretty good job. We've tested mirror lights, fog lights, LED light bulbs, tail lights, and so much more. Go to headlightrevolution.com, type in your year, make, and model, and we'll show you guys everything that's actually worth upgrading to when it comes to lighting on your Super Duty.